They won't get out at all. The Marines sprint through corridors that keep changing direction as the cruiser tumbles. Left becomes down, down becomes sideways, and every turn threatens to throw them into a bulkhead hard enough to break bone through armor. Warning lights flash in frantic pulses. The reactor alarm howls like something alive. Pods, where are the pods? A bulkhead sign spins past. Escape Bay C, 40 meters. They hit the junction and find it half collapsed. A pipe spews freezing vapor into the hallway, turning the air into glittering mist. The Marines push through anyway, shoulders scraping metal, boots clamping and releasing as the deck rolls under them. At the bay door, a faceless final block squad is waiting. No retreat left, no room left. They fire at knife range. A Marine takes a burst to the ribs, staggers, and keeps moving, driving forward with a shoulder slam that knocks a faceless soldier off balance. Another Marine throws a flash charge. The corridor whites out for a heartbeat, and in that heartbeat the Marines push through the gap like a wedge. Inside the escape bay, pods hang in racks, some damaged, some missing, some sealed. 4 pods left, someone shouts. Move! They rip open hatches and shove people inside. Harnesses snap, manual seals slam shut. The bay shakes as another external impact hits the cruiser, somebody outside firing into it again. Trying to finish it. Hook. The bay is failing while they're still loading pods. A piece of ceiling tears free and crashes down, crushing an empty pod rack and spraying shards across the deck. One Marine gets clipped and spins, blood droplets floating in slow beads before the ship's tumble slams them against a wall. Go, go! 3 pods eject in quick sequence, blasting out through a torn bay door into open space, tiny sparks thrown into a storm of wreckage. The 4th pod won't release. Its clamp is jammed. A Marine braces, boots locked, and hauls the manual lever with both hands. The clamp shrieks but holds. The reactor alarm shifts, higher pitch, faster pulse. Reactor's going, the tech yells. The Marine grabs a plasma cutter, burns through the clamp at the hinge. Metal glows, then snaps. The pod finally releases, and the cruiser lurches. The tumbling hull swings the escape bay toward open space, and a second rupture rips along the wall, tearing panels away. The remaining Marines are suddenly fighting suction and spinning debris. One Marine is yanked toward the breach and catches a rail by fingertips. Another grabs his harness and anchors both of them to a support strut. They shove the last pod out. It clears the bay by meters. The bay itself begins to tear apart. Hook. The boarding team escapes by seconds and the ship is about to explode. Outside, the pods tumble through the debris field, thrusters firing to stabilize. Through their small viewports, the Marines see the faceless cruiser spinning like a dying starship should never spin. Broken, burning, helpless. Then the reactor goes critical. A blinding flash blooms inside the hull, and the cruiser detonates from the core outward, an expanding sphere of fire and fragments that rips through surrounding debris and throws shockwaves across the void. The pods are caught at the edge of it. They shake violently, alarms screaming inside cramped cockpits, but they survive, spun outward into darkness like seeds thrown from an explosion. And as the fireball fades, the Marines see the battle outside still raging. GSF ships maneuvering through the wreckage. Faceless survivors scattering and the new Caledonia sector continuing to burn. Because here, survival isn't the end of a scene. It's just the cut to the next one. The escape pods stabilize in ragged formation. Tiny metal coffins spinning through a storm of debris. Thrusters cough, correct, cough again. Inside, the Marines breathe hard in sealed helmets, watching the wreckage field flash with distant gunfire. Ahead, the GSF destroyer they left behind is still fighting, scarred, drifting, firing in short controlled bursts as it tries to clear a path through the debris. A faceless corvette breaks from cover and dives toward it, guns blazing. The destroyer answers with point defense and a tight cannon volley. The corvette's bow cracks open. It veers away, trailing flames, still alive but hurt. Then a new warning tone chirps inside the pods. Incoming contacts! Faceless fighters, survivors from the dogfight, spot the pods and swing in fast, hungry, low on fuel, but not on hate. They don't need to kill a warship. They just need to pop small targets. Brace, a Marine leader says, voice steady. They're coming for us. The first faceless fighter fires a burst. Rounds ping off pod armor, punching small holes that frost over instantly. The pod shudders. Inside, warning lights bloom across a cracked panel. The Marines can't fight back. They can only drift and pray their signal is being seen. On the destroyer's bridge, a sensor officer catches the pod transponders and the incoming fighters at the same time. Pods under attack. The destroyer's captain doesn't hesitate. Bring our nose around. Open point defense. Cover them. The destroyer swings its guns toward the fighters and fires through the debris. Careful bursts, controlled arcs. Tracers slice the void. One faceless fighter tries to weave between wreckage. It clips a spinning hull fragment and tears apart in a flash, debris scattering like hot shrapnel. Another fighter takes a point defense burst and disintegrates mid-turn. The remaining faceless pilots pull back, forced off by the escort fire. The pods drift into the destroyer's shadow. For a moment, the Marines inside can breathe again. But the battle isn't done. Across the sector, more faceless ships are breaking away, some running, some trying to regroup behind debris clouds, some desperate enough to push one last strike at the GSF carriers and their damaged convoy. The Mars radiation carrier group advances, fighters still swarming, escorts still firing, carving the battlefield into zones of control. The rescued haulers sit behind the carrier wall, burning and leaking, but alive. And in the middle of all of it, the destroyer that saved the pods takes a fresh hit, one missile slipping past point defense and detonating against its aft section. The ship jolts, engines sputter. A bright plume vents out behind it. The captain's voice stays calm over comms. All ships hold formation. Keep the convoy covered. Do not lose the rescued haulers. The destroyer limps onward anyway, still shielding the pods. Because in New Caledonia, survival isn't free. It's paid for, second by ships that keep fighting even when they're already dying.